The massive alien ships appeared in space like dark clouds blocking out the stars. Admiral Vextel stood tall on his command bridge, his 6 arms moving across control panels while his yellow eyes watched the blue planet below. His fleet of 100 ships moved into position around Earth, each one the size of a small city. Perfect formation, Vextel said to his second-in-command. His voice made clicking sounds when he spoke. The humans will see our power and surrender quickly. They always do. The alien admiral had done this 47 times before. Every planet gave up when they saw the massive shields that could block out their sun. It was simple and effective. No need for messy battles or destroyed cities, just darkness and fear, then surrender.
Ash!
Deploy the shield network, he ordered. Across space, the hegemony ships began to glow with bright blue energy. Slowly, massive barriers of light stretched between each ship, creating a web of energy around the entire planet. The shields were beautiful and terrible at the same time, casting strange shadows across Earth's surface. Down on Earth, Admiral Kim Tae stood in the underground command center in Seoul. She was a small woman with gray hair and sharp eyes that missed nothing. Around her, dozens of officers worked at computer stations, tracking the alien ships as they moved into position. "The shields are almost complete," reported Colonel Park Jin, her trusted aide. He was young but experienced, having trained for this moment his entire career. "They will block out the sun completely within 2 hours." Kim Tae nodded slowly. Had been preparing for this day for 10 years. Not preparing to surrender, but preparing to fight in a way the aliens would never expect. The plan was dangerous and had never been tested on this scale, but it was their only hope. "Status report on Project Sunburst," she said quietly. "All facilities are ready," Park Jin replied. "Dr. Lee Hanna confirms the shield analyzers are in position. General Choi Min reports all military units are standing by." Kim Tae looked at the main display screen. The alien shields were now covering half of Asia, turning day into night. She could see the panic beginning in the cities above as people realized what was happening, but they had to trust the plan. They had to believe that Earth would not go quietly into the darkness. A communication alert sounded through the command center. "The aliens were calling." "Admiral Kim Tae of Earth," came the translated voice of Vextel. "I am Admiral Vextel of the Hegemony. Your planet is now under our control. You have 24 hours to surrender unconditionally. If you agree, your people will be relocated to work colonies. If you refuse, your world will remain in darkness until you change your minds." The communication channel stayed open, waiting. For her response, every person in the command center looked at Kim Tae. This was the moment that would decide Earth's future. Kim Tae thought about all the preparation that had led to this moment. The secret research facilities built deep underground. The weapon satellites disguised as space junk. The shield analysis that had taken years to complete. Most importantly, she thought about the discovery that had changed everything. The aliens believed their shields were perfect defense. But Dr. Lee Hanna had found something incredible. The shields did not just block energy, they collected it. Solar power, cosmic radiation, even the heat from the planet below. All of it was absorbed and stored in massive energy banks within the EPS. Shield network, what the aliens saw as their greatest strength, could become their greatest weakness. But only if the plan worked. Only if they could turn the shields against their creators. "Admiral, they are waiting for your response," Park Jin said softly. Kim Tae looked around the command center one more time, at the officers who had volunteered. To stay underground during the siege, the screens showing the alien fleet above, the tactical displays that would guide their impossible battle, she opened the communication channel to the alien fleet. Her voice was calm and clear when she spoke. "We decline." Then she cut the transmission. In space above, Admiral Vextel stared at his communication console in surprise. In 47 previous conquests, no species had ever refused their terms. Some had tried to negotiate. Others had begged for mercy. But none had simply said no. "Did they understand the message?" he asked his communication officer. "Yes, Admiral." Translation was perfect. They refused. Vextel felt a strange emotion he rarely experienced: confusion. These humans were either very brave or very stupid. Either way, they would learn the price of defying the hegemony. Complete the shield deployment, he ordered. We will wait. When they realize their situation is hopeless, they will surrender. The last section of the shield network snapped into place. Earth disappeared beneath a dome of alien energy, cut off from the sun and stars. From space, the planet looked like a blue marble trapped in a cage of light. But deep underground, Kim Tae and her team were not planning to surrender. They were planning to do something that had never been done before. They were going to turn the aliens' own weapon against them. The siege of Earth had begun. 3 months had passed since the alien shields blocked out the sun. Admiral Vexel expected to see a broken planet by now. Instead, when he looked at his scanner reports, he saw something that made no sense. The energy readings are increasing, his science officer reported. The humans are using more power now than before the siege began. Vexel clicked his mandibles in annoyance. It's impossible. They should be starving in the dark by now. But the reports were clear. Instead of dying, the humans were growing stronger. Cities that should have been empty were buzzing with activity. The planet glowed with artificial light from thousands of underground facilities deep beneath the city. Of Busan, Dr. Lee Hanna rubbed her tired eyes and looked at the computer screen again. She had been working for 18 hours straight, just like every day for the past 3 months. Around her 20 other scientists worked at their own stations, all focused on the same goal. Run the simulation again, she told her assistant. Dr. Kimbo, I want to see the energy flow patterns one more time. The holographic display showed the alien shield network surrounding Earth. But instead of seeing it as a prison, Lee Hanna saw it as a massive battery. The shields were not just blocking the sun, they were collecting its energy and storing it in huge power banks. The shields work like a giant solar panel, she explained to her team. They take energy from the sun, from space radiation, even from the heat rising from our planet. All of that power has to go somewhere. Kimbo nodded. The energy is stored in capacitor nodes throughout the shield network. But what can we do with that information? Lee Hanna smiled. For the first time in weeks, we can turn their own power against them. If we can reverse the polarity of the shield generators, we can. Redirect all that stored energy into a single focused beam. The idea was brilliant and terrifying. The aliens had been collecting solar energy for 3 months. The amount of power stored in their shields was enormous, enough to destroy entire cities. But if they could control that power, they could use it as a weapon. In Seoul, General Choi Min stood in the main command center, coordinating the planet's defense. Above ground, the city looked empty and dead. But below ground, it was more active than ever before. Millions of people lived and worked in the underground facilities that had been built in secret over the past decade. A report from the manufacturing center's his aide, Colonel Namesu, said as he handed over a tablet. All weapon satellites are complete and ready for deployment. Choi Min nodded. The satellites were disguised as space debris, floating in Earth's shadow where the alien scanners could not detect them. Each one was equipped with powerful weapons that could strike at the enemy fleet from above. What about the shield generators? He asked. Installation is complete. We now have control nodes at 3,000 locations around the planet. When Dr. Lee Hanna gives the signal, we can reverse the polarity of the entire shield network. It was an incredible achievement. While the aliens thought they were watching a dying planet, the humans had been preparing for the greatest military operation in their history. Every major city now had underground facilities. Every continent had weapon systems, ready to strike. But the most important part of the plan was still being perfected in Lee Hanna's laboratory. Above the planet, Admiral Vexel paced back and forth on his command bridge. His officers reported. The same strange readings every day. The humans were consuming massive amounts of energy, but the shields made it impossible to see what they were doing. Perhaps they are trying to dig escape tunnels, suggested his tactical officer. Some species attempt to hide underground when they cannot win. Vexel was not convinced. No species has ever increased their energy consumption during a siege. They are planning something. He had ruled over 47 conquered worlds. He knew the patterns of defeat. First came panic, then desperation, then finally surrender. But the humans were not following the pattern. If anything, they seemed to be growing stronger. "Should we begin the direct assault?" asked his second-in-command. Vextal considered this. A direct attack would be messy and expensive. The hegemony preferred to let their enemies surrender peacefully. But these humans were different. They were not acting like a defeated species. "Not yet," he decided. "We will wait 1 more month. When their energy reserves are exhausted, they will surrender." But Vextal did not know that the humans were not using their own energy reserves. They were preparing to use his in the Busan laboratory. Lee Hanna made the final calculations. The shield network had been collecting energy for 3 months. The power stored in the alien capacitors was beyond anything humans had ever controlled before. "The energy output will be equivalent to a small star," she told the Defense Council during their daily briefing. "When we reverse the polarity, all of that power will flow through a single focal point." Admiral Kim Tae listened carefully from her command center in Seoul. "Are you certain this will work?" "The mathematics are sound," Lee Hanna replied. "Aliens built their shields to collect and store energy. They never imagined that someone might turn that system against them. The plan was ready. Now, they just had to wait for the right moment to strike." Dr. Lee Hanna's hands shook as she stared at the final calculations on her computer screen. After 4 months of endless work, she had finally found the answer. The breakthrough was so simple that she almost laughed. The aliens had built their own defeat into their greatest weapon. "Connect me to all command centers," she told her assistant, Dr. Kim Bo. "I need to speak with everyone immediately." Within minutes, her voice was broadcasting through the secure network that connected every underground facility on Earth. Scientists, generals, and admirals all listened as she explained what she had discovered. "The alien shields are not just blocking us," she said, her voice filled with excitement. "They are collecting massive amounts of energy every second. Solar power, cosmic radiation, even the heat from our planet. All of it is being stored in huge power banks throughout the shield network." In Seoul, Admiral Kim Tae leaned forward in her chair. "Much energy are we talking about?" Lee Hanna took a deep breath. "After 4 months of collection, the total stored energy is ... She paused, checking her calculations 1 more time. "Is enough to crack a moon in half." The command centers fell silent. Even the most experienced military officers had never dealt with that kind of power. "But here's the important part," Lee Hanna continued. "We can control it. By reversing the polarity of the shield generators, we can turn the entire network into a weapon. All that stored energy can be focused into a single beam." High above Earth, hidden in the planet's shadow, Captain Song Woo floated in his small command station. For months, he had been coordinating the most secret part of the plan. What looked like space debris drifting near Earth was actually a network of weapon satellites, slowly assembling themselves into a deadly formation. "Final satellite is in position," he reported to Earth Command. "All units are ready for activation." The satellites had been launched piece by piece over the past year. Disguised as broken equipment and space junk, the aliens had ignored them completely, never suspecting that the debris was actually a sophisticated weapon system. Now, with Lee Hanna's breakthrough, the satellites would work together with the hijacked shield network to create a double attack. The aliens would face destruction from above and below at the same time. In the Busan laboratory, Lee Hanna worked with her team to finalize the control systems. The plan was dangerous beyond imagination. They would be channeling the power of a small star through equipment that had never been tested at this scale. "The focusing array is ready," reported Dr. Kim Bo. "We can direct the energy beam to any point in space." "What about the shield generators?" asked Dr. Parkman, the team's engineer. "All 3,000 control nodes are installed and tested," Lee Hanna replied. "When we give the signal, every shield generator on the planet will reverse polarity simultaneously. The aliens will have less than 3 seconds to realize what is happening." The beauty of the plan was its simplicity. The aliens had built a perfect energy collection system. They had never imagined that their prisoners might figure out how to turn it against them. Above Earth, Admiral Vextal stood on his command bridge, growing more frustrated each day. His scanners showed increasing energy activity on the planet's surface, but the shields made detailed observation impossible. The humans are planning something, he told his science officer. No species increases energy consumption during a siege, unless they are preparing for battle. But what can they do? The officer replied. They are trapped under our shields. They have no way to attack our fleet. Vexthal was not convinced. These humans were different from the other species he had conquered. They were not acting like a defeated enemy. They were acting like a species preparing for war. Double the shield power, he ordered. If they are planning some kind of attack, we will make sure our defenses are impenetrable. His officers obeyed, increasing the energy flow to the shield network. They did not realize that they were actually helping their enemy by storing even more power in the system. In Seoul, General Choi Min coordinated the final preparations. Every military unit on Earth was ready for battle. The underground cities were fully operational. The weapons satellites were in position. And now, thanks to Lee Hanna's breakthrough, they had a way to turn the aliens' own power against them. All units report ready, he told Admiral Kim Tae. We can begin the operation at any time. Kim Tae looked at the tactical displays showing the alien fleet above. The enemies were confident in their power, maintaining the same arrogant formation they had held for 4 months. They believed their shields made them invulnerable. Dr. Lee Hanna, what is the current energy level in the shield network? She asked. Maximum capacity, came the reply. The aliens increased power to the shields this morning. We now have enough energy to destroy their entire fleet. Kim Tae nodded slowly. The moment had finally arrived. After 4 months of preparation, Earth was ready to strike back. The aliens had given them the most powerful weapon in the galaxy, and they did not even know it. All units prepare for Operation Sunburst, she announced. We attack in 1 hour. The greatest battle in human history was about to begin. The clock in the Seoul Command Center showed 1447 when Admiral Kim Tae gave the final order. Execute Operation Sunburst, she said quietly into her microphone. Across the planet, 3,000 shield generators received the signal at exactly the same moment. In underground facilities from Seoul to London, from New York to Tokyo, human technicians pressed the activation buttons that would change the course of the war. Dr. Lee. Hannah watched her main computer screen as the polarity reversal began. Energy flow is reversing, she reported. All power is now channeling toward the focal point. The alien shield network, which had been collecting energy for 4 months, suddenly became a massive weapon. Instead of blocking energy from reaching Earth, the shields began pushing all their stored power toward a single point above the Korean peninsula, high above the planet. Admiral Vexthal stood on the bridge of his flagship, the Eternal Dominion. He was reviewing reports from his officers when the first warning alarm sounded. Sir, we are detecting massive energy buildup on the planet's surface, his science officer reported. Vexthal turned toward the tactical display. The energy readings were impossible. No planet-bound species could generate that much power. Are our shields compromised? He asked. No, sir. All shields are at full power. But the energy is coming from... What? The officer paused, checking his instruments. Again, the energy is coming from our own shield network. Vexthal felt his blood grow cold. Somehow, the humans had taken control of their defensive system. Emergency maneuvers, he shouted. All ships break formation immediately, but he was too late. The energy beam formed above Earth like a spear of pure light. It was brighter than the sun, more focused than a laser, and contained enough power to destroy a small moon. The beam struck the Eternal Dominion directly in its center. The massive ship, larger than most human cities, simply vanished. The beam passed through it like it was made of paper, then continued to the 3 capital ships positioned behind it. In formation, 4 of the hegemony's most powerful warships were destroyed in less than 3 seconds. Captain Song-woo watched. From his hidden position behind Earth as the alien fleet began to panic, the perfect formation that had seemed so threatening now became a disaster. Ships crashed into each other as they tried to escape the continuing energy attacks. All satellites emerged from shadow, he commanded. Begin attack pattern Alpha. Pieces of space debris that had been drifting near Earth suddenly came to life. Dozens of weapon satellites revealed themselves, their guns charging with energy from the same power source that had destroyed the alien flagship, the Hegemony. Fleet found themselves under attack from two directions. Below them, the hijacked shield. Network continued to fire massive energy beams at their ships. Above them, the hidden satellites struck with precise laser fire. This is impossible. Admiral Vextel's replacement screamed over the alien communication channel. How did they get weapons in space? General Choi Min smiled as he watched the tactical display in Seoul. They never scanned for debris, he said to his officers. We're so confident in their shields that they never looked for threats from above. The alien formation was falling apart. Ship after ship exploded under the coordinated human attack. The Hegemony had designed their fleet to fight enemies trapped under their shields, not to defend against attacks from multiple directions. Target. Their command ships, Admiral Kim Tae ordered. Focus all fire on the vessels with the strongest energy signatures. Dr. Lee Hanna's team worked frantically to control the massive energy flows. We have enough power for 12 more full strength. Shot, she reported. But the shield generators are overheating. We cannot maintain this level of output much longer. We do not need much longer, Kim Tae replied. She could see the alien fleet breaking apart on her screens. Captain Song, how many enemy ships remain? 43. Ships still active, Songwoo reported from his satellite command post. But they are retreating toward the edge of the solar system. It's a battle that had seemed impossible was turning into a complete victory. The aliens' greatest strength had become their greatest weakness. Their perfect shields had become humanity's most powerful weapon. Admiral Vextel, second in command. Admiral Kexmore watched his fleet being destroyed from the bridge of his command ship. Half of his vessels were gone, and the rest were fleeing. In terror. How could they turn our own shields against us? He asked his science officer. They must have been studying our technology for months, came the reply. They found a way to reverse the polarity of the entire network. Exmore looked at the tactical display showing the continuing destruction. The humans had not just defended themselves. They had turned the Hegemony's most advanced technology into a weapon of incredible power. Signal the retreat, he ordered. All ships withdraw from the system immediately. On Earth, the cheers could be heard even in the deepest underground. Facilities, the siege was over. The aliens were retreating. Humanity had won their first victory against the Hegemony. But Admiral Kim Tae knew this was only the beginning. The galaxy was about to learn that Earth would not surrender quietly to anyone. The remaining alien ships scattered across space like frightened insects. Admiral Kexmore, now the highest-ranking Hegemony officer still alive, watched his fleet retreat in complete disorder. Half of his ships were destroyed and the rest were fleeing as fast as their engines could carry them. Send emergency signals to all Hegemony worlds, he ordered his communication officer. Warn them about the shield breakers of Seoul. Tell them that Earth has found a way to turn our own technology against us. The message that went out across the galaxy was filled with panic and fear. For the first time in centuries, the Hegemony had been defeated. Their perfect shields, which had conquered 47 worlds, had become weapons in the hands of their enemies. On Earth, Dr. Lee Hanna stood in her laboratory in Busan, watching the alien fleet disappear beyond scanner range. Her hands were shaking, not from fear, but from exhaustion and excitement. She had done something that would change the entire galaxy. The energy readings are dropping, her assistant Dr. Kim Bo reported. The shield network is powering down. Lee Hanna nodded. Begin recording everything. Other species will want to learn how we did this. Need to document every detail. She understood that her discovery was bigger than just Earth's victory. The shield technology that the Hegemony used to control dozens of worlds could now be turned against them. Every planet that had been conquered could potentially free itself in Seoul. General Choi Min coordinated the cleanup operations. Military units across the planet were securing the abandoned alien equipment and preparing for the next phase of the war. Because this was not the end, it was just the beginning. Status report on the liberation protocols, he asked his aide. Colonel Nam-Soo. All communication arrays are ready, Nam-Soo replied. We can begin broadcasting the shield reversal technology to every world in the galaxy. Choi Min smiled. The hegemony had made a critical mistake. They had assumed that conquered species would never learn to fight back. But now, with Earth's example, rebellion would spread like wildfire across their empire. Admiral Kim Tae walked to the main communication console in the command center. The alien fleet was still within range, fleeing toward the edge of the solar system. She opened a channel that would reach every surviving hegemony ship. "This is Admiral Kim Tae of Earth," she said, her voice calm and clear. "Your shields covered our sky, but we aimed for your heart. Remember that when you consider your next target." She paused, then continued. "Tell your masters that humanity does not surrender. Tell them that their reign of terror is ending, and tell them that every world they have conquered now knows their greatest weapon can be turned against them." The transmission ended, but the message would echo across the galaxy for generations, high above Earth. Captain Song Woo floated in his command satellite, coordinating the final phases of the battle. His weapon systems were powering down, but his communication arrays were busier than ever. "Sir, we are receiving messages from across the galaxy," his communication officer reported. "Dozens of species are asking for the shield reversal technology." Song Woo was not surprised. Word of Earth's victory was spreading faster than light through the galaxy's communication networks. Species that had been enslaved for decades were suddenly seeing hope for the first time. "Begin transmission of the technical data," he ordered. "Send it to every world that requests it." The hegemony wanted to rule the galaxy through fear. Let them learn what happens when the galaxy fights back. On the planet Kepler 44b, the Zeridian people received Earth's transmission with tears of joy. They had been slaves of the hegemony for 30 years, forced to work in mining colonies under the alien shields. Now they had a chance to fight back. On Proxima Centauri C, the Aquarian civilization immediately began building their own shield generators. They had been planning a hopeless rebellion against their hegemony overlords. Now they had a weapon that could actually work. Across the galaxy, the same scene was repeated on dozens of worlds. Species that had given up hope were suddenly preparing for war. The hegemony's empire was about to face the largest rebellion in galactic history. Dr. Lee Hanna received reports from across Earth as the alien shields finally shut down completely. For the first time in 4 months, natural sunlight touched the planet's surface. Cities that had been hidden underground began to emerge. People walked outside and felt real sunshine on their faces. "The energy readings are normal," she reported. To the command center, "All shield generators have been safely shut down. The planet is free." But even as she celebrated Earth's victory, Lee Hanna was already thinking about the future. Her discovery had changed everything. The mathematical principles that allowed the shield reversal were simple enough that any advanced civilization could understand them. Dr. Lee, her assistant, called out, "We are receiving a transmission from the Andromedon Council. They want to form an alliance against the hegemony." Lee Hanna smiled. The galaxy was waking up. Species that had been conquered and enslaved were joining together to fight their oppressors. The hegemony had created their own enemies by teaching the galaxy to fear their shields. Admiral Kim Tae stood on the surface of Seoul for the first time in months, feeling the warmth of the sun on her face. Around her, the city was coming back to life. But she knew that Earth's real work was just beginning. The shield breakers of Seoul had changed the equation forever. The galaxy would never be the same.